Hello and welcome to TechFunnel.com's interview series for Women's History Month. My name is Danny White, and today we have joining us Tamara McCleary. At the intersection of marketing and technology, Tamara is an internationally recognized expert on branding, influence, and social business. She is the founder and CEO of Thulium, a social media analytics and consulting agency, driving smart social through proprietary data analytics and award-winning storytelling. Tamara's expertise is in B2B and B2C marketing, social influence, and technology. She is ranked by Clear in the top 1% of global social media influencers. She is also listed as one of the top 50 social influencers of 2015, one of the top 50 big data influencers of 2016, and one of the top 100 Internet of Things influencers of 2016 by Analytica. Tamara is an IBM futurist, and in 2016, she was named the #1 most influential woman in MarTech by B2B Marketing. She is also the creator of the trademarked Relationship Method. Tamara was also just announced as #9 on the Top 100 Digital Marketers 2019 report by Brand24. Welcome, Tamara. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you decided to really enter the world of marketing.
You know, it's interesting because I did not have a direct trajectory into marketing. I actually was a registered nurse back in 1987 doing trauma nursing and pediatric and neonatal intensive care helicopter life flight. And it's interesting that now here I am. How many years? We won't count, will we?
Yeah, we won't count. No. Yeah, we'll leave that off.
Don't anybody do the math, please. But you know what I love about life is that we all have the opportunity to move and grow and shift and pivot according to what we learn. And what I learned, way back then was that really the way that you have any sort of influence over anyone is to, understand where they're coming from, understand their pain and their suffering and their challenges, and meet them where they're at. And so, whether it's patient compliance or non-compliance, or it's trying to reach your target market and have them actually do something, take an action, such as click on this, make a conversion. It's all the same thing, and it's relationships, right? And these relationships are critical and crucial. And so it was my work with people and understanding the psychology that actually moves and motivates behavior that got me into marketing and ethical marketing as well. I mean, I think it's really important for us as marketers to understand as we're shaping our messaging and our stories, and we're really harnessing the emotional connection that moves all of us as human beings, is we have to pay attention to how we're using that, and are we using it in an ethical way that really is in the best interest of the customer.
Absolutely. So what are some of the biggest points of transformation that you've seen in the marketing industry over the past few years?
It's really such a wild ride right now. I mean, some of the biggest things that I've seen changing marketing is that we now have technology that we didn't have in the past to be able to give us accurate feedback and data and analytics to be able to make good choices, and also prove our concepts, right? So in the past, before we had technology, a lot of marketing was guess. And, the old joke or the old saying was, 50% of my marketing budget is definitely working. I just don't know which 50%. And, that's all gone now. We do know. We can track, we can measure. So one of the biggest shifts and changes in marketing is the technology. But the other huge shift I see is the people. So you and I have changed. And anyone listening to this, we've all changed. Our expectations have shifted. And we're all different since we now have a supercomputer in our pocket or our purse. I mean, we have artificial intelligence with us at all times. And so, obviously we've become more savvy consumers, right? And so whether we're talking B2B or B2C, it doesn't matter, because when we make a transaction, when we see a sale, it's with another human being. It's not with a brick and mortar company. It's not with an artificially intelligent device. It's an actual human being making that decision. Mm-hmm. So this big transformation that I have seen is with our expectations. We are a savvier consumer. And so the people that we are marketing to are very savvy. Right. So not only do we now have technology to measure our efficacy, but we also have we have to market in a new way to a savvy consumer. And what that means is it's no longer effective to just pump out content. It's no longer effective to just broadcast your message. Mm-hmm. Today's consumer, and you and I, we're in this bucket too. We want to be communicated with. Certainly. We want to be understood. We want a level of personalization. We want you to know who we are in a way that means don't bother us with things we're not interested in or that are not appropriate for us. So these are the biggest things that have changed. The consumer has changed. We've changed. The technology has changed. So you put that all together, and it's making marketing such an exciting place to live right now, because there's the sky's the limit on where we're headed.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit in that previous answer about data and personalization. So can you go a little bit more into detail as to why data-driven marketing is now so critical for marketers to embrace, and not just really embrace it on a surface level, but really deeply embrace it and actually use it as a mechanism for their marketing success?
Yeah, no, it's a brilliant question you ask. And I will say that, first and foremost, once a nurse, always a nurse. I think forever. Yeah. You don't go into nursing because you want to rule the world. You go into nursing because you want to heal the world, right? Mm-hmm. So, when I look at what really attracted me to doing what I'm doing now, I have a heart for marketers. Marketing is tough. It's so rewarding and it's really exciting, but it's challenging, which also I think lends itself to being rather juicy, right? Because of the challenge. Mm-hmm. But bottom line, with digital transformation initiatives and marketing taking more of a power seat at the executive table, it's absolutely imperative that marketing be able to prove attribution, right? So what I mean by this is, for example, when you look at data and analytics and, data-driven marketing strategies, for instance, just to be really concrete, I'm talking about what it is that we actually do. So it's not that I'm just talking about this as a broad topic. I mean, this is what we do. So, at Thulium, we're busy aligning marketing to business growth through proving attribution, which is tracking and measuring those conversions, the new business growth that are a result of marketing social media campaigns. And for us, because we are focused on global social media marketing, that's what we do. And it's really about measuring the success of those campaigns. And by success, we're being very specific in saying, how did it drive business growth? Right. So proving spend is critical in these budget cutting times. And, we all know that marketing's budget has historically been the first to be cut. Mm-hmm. So, senior leadership and key stakeholders need to understand the connection between marketing spend to the overall revenue generation for the organization. Right. And when you can do that, oh my goodness, talk about powerful. It makes me shake with excitement, because that's where you take your power back in marketing. Mm-hmm. And, at Thulium, when we say that we make social work by driving smart social, what we're doing is we're using a smart, data-driven approach to social media marketing that concretely connects the dots between marketing and business growth. So essentially, what our mission is and what we do, and why I'm so very passionate about data-driven marketing strategies, is that we are shifting the perception of marketing as a liability into marketing as an asset. Right. And data-driven marketing really is harnessing the power of the latest in MarTech and analytics tools to drive ROI.
Incredible. That's an insightful answer. So talking about analytics and back to our previous question of personalization, as a futurist, as a person who's looking into the future so often, where do you see predictive analytics and personalization going over the next decade?
That's such a hot topic. So what a great question, because I want to highlight what you just said. You said next decade. That's the next 10 years. So the speed of transformation at which we are living into and breathing right now with technology means that for us to even project in the next 10 years has to be tempered with the fact that everybody understands we are pulling out the crystal ball a bit here, right? Using these futuristic eyes of ours to cast a knowing glance around the corner. But if you can imagine, think of just how much we've exploded technologically from 10 years ago. Well, it's even faster right now. You know, I just got back from Mobile World Congress, and, you know, we've got 5G, we've got speeds like never seen before. The pipeline is massive, and the latency periods have decreased to the point where now we're going to see a lot of tech actually being used and on scene in ways that we've only talked about before.
Right.
So expect things to explode the next 10 years. And one of those being, when you ask me as a futurist, where do I see predictive analytics and personalization moving, is that it's going to rock our world. We're going to be in a world where we will approach, say, you know, think about e-mobility, right? Where, you know, 10 years from now, I don't believe we're going to see all these cars on the road like we see currently. We're going to see, you know, e-mobility be a solution in transportation. So how would this personalization work? Well, you would, you know, hypothetically, you walk up to a pod that's your e-mobility solution. And when you get into it, it's already going to know, based on your biometric identification, it's going to know your favorite songs, your playlist. I do believe we're still going to listen to music in 10 years. So
yeah, I hope so too.
Forever. So it'll be your favorite songs, though. It'll be from your own playlist automatically. And then your programming will be personalized to you because we will know who you are. And this is where we are headed. And so everything will be personalized. And, you know, right now, the clunky version of that is retargeted advertising, which fails big time. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of an Amazon shopper.
Yes, absolutely.
And the problem with retargeted advertising is my kids also use my Amazon account. So if my son buys a remote control helicopter, all I'm getting are toy ads for, you know, the next ad infinitum, and I don't want to buy any toys. So it's still not perfected in this moment, but what we will see is a level of perfection with personalization that will know exactly who is on the other side of that communication to be able to personalize. So we're going to be able to have information a lot quicker to make real-time decisions, to be able to do real-time marketing.
Right.
And again, this will tie back into, you know, the data analytics, you know, the data-driven marketing that we just talked about with, you're doing real-time marketing. Can you imagine the ability, harnessing the power of artificial intelligence backed by machine learning, to be able to move that customer through their journey in a very personalized way? And what we're finding is that even with chatbots currently, I mean, we are getting better and better with artificial intelligence. And this machine learning component means that the chatbot would understand, based on the answers given to it, how to respond next. And this is even getting more elegant and exquisite. So I believe that when you look at 10 years from now, these chatbots will no longer be constricted to a really strict rules base. But when we talk about machine learning, which is algorithms that are able to iterate on themselves, independent of human intervention, we might actually see chatbots be exquisitely knowledgeable for the customer in answering questions. And our research shows that people know it's a chatbot, but the chatbot oftentimes ends up being what they rely on most if the chatbot is knowledgeable in giving them information. Because oftentimes the human being on the other end is not knowledgeable and only causes more frustration, irritation, and confusion.
Right.
And all the customer really wants is, here's my need, please handle it.
So speaking of machine learning, I mean, obviously machine learning and coupled with artificial intelligence are huge topics of discussion in this age. So how do you think companies and teams can approach their marketing strategies with AI and machine learning integrated into that? How can we start thinking in terms of chatbots and thinking in terms of machine learning?
Yeah, and I would say for any organization out there that's not currently harnessing artificial intelligence within their MarTech stack, they're already behind. This is something that you should already be involved in because it's changing so rapidly. It's going to be very hard to catch up if you wait too long. But the key piece here is there are a lot of options out there. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you're able to fully integrate and be wise about the technology that you're choosing. Now, with specificity around artificial intelligence, and then the machine learning component is really just that the algorithm, the software is able to improve on itself versus, I mean, we've had artificial intelligence around for forever, right? It was going back in the 1950s.
Right.
But when we talk about machine learning, this is where the software is able to make decisions based on a set of parameters. And then there's a depth to machine learning that, there's independent, machine learning, which is the fact that the algorithm is going to iterate without that human parameter intervention. So currently, these are things that we talk about for the future, and we've not seen really them demonstrated quite yet, but it's, with 5G, I believe it's right around the corner because now we have the ability, the computing capacity to do that. So, I think that what an organization must do is look at what is in your marketing tech stack currently. How is it fully integrated? Is there any duplication in there? And where are you moving? Where do you want to go for the future? And what would success look like? Because then that's going to help you reverse engineer into what you decide to add into that tech stack. Or maybe you have something already in there that you're not utilizing fully.
So let's talk a little bit about your brand amplification company, Thulium. How did you come up with the name, and what do you actually do in your company?
Yeah, absolutely. So Thulium is more than brand amplification. So, we are a global social media marketing agency, and there's a lot to social media more than just brand amplification, right? There's that whole engagement piece and storytelling. And so, I started this agency a long time ago because I saw organizations failing to actually harness the power of social media. They were using social media as a free platform for PR and just broadcasting their messaging, which you and I both know, and anyone who's on social media knows, why do brands continue to do that? Because it doesn't work for us, right? We don't even engage with brands that do that. And I want to say that people who are pumping out that messaging, I want to ask them, do you guys engage with stuff like that on social media? Because I know you don't. So why are we pretending that works? It doesn't. So that's why I took our company, in the direction of focusing solely on social media marketing and doing the smart data-driven marketing pieces, because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you can't prove attribution, forget it. You're going to get your marketing budget cut. So that's why I threw all of my eggs in that basket several years ago. And the name Thulium for me has a deep significance personally, in that, Thulium, the meaning of it is about overcoming challenges in the midst of enormous shifts and change. You'll notice that Thulium is actually atomic number 69 on the periodic table of elements. And
interesting.
Thulium is it's the least abundant of the naturally occurring rare earth elements. And it's the only flexible metal on Earth. So you see this as I'm also like a poet at heart, right? Yeah. So for me, it's like, what do we need in this changing future? This uncertainty future. And, I think that, this being strong like metal and yet flexible, this is how we have to be in order to achieve success in our changing world. Strong yet flexible. And,
strong yet flexible. I love it.
Strong yet flexible. And isn't that what women are in general? I am the CEO in our organization, and I'm very proud to say that we have 90% women currently in our company.
That's incredible.
So we did allow 10% of the testosterone to infuse our organization. I'm winking at everyone right now. I'm winking and giggling. I love men. I married one and I birthed a son, so I have no qualms with men. But I often just feel that women haven't historically gotten the opportunities offered to them first. And so I really wanted to put my money where my mouth was. And I really make a concerted effort to look for talented women to join our organization. And so that's why we've hired so many women within our organization in comparison to men. And I love it. I have to just say, there's no harder worker in the universe, I think, than a woman, because we've had to do it all, right? We've had to be fantastic, daughters and partners and spouses and mothers and friends. And we're always taking care of our friends. We take care of our partners. We take care of our kids. We take care of everybody.
Yeah.
And usually the last person to get taken care of is ourselves. And so I really wanted to keep that in the forefront as I built my organization, to keep an eye out for, creating opportunities for women to be able to shine and grow and work in a way that is conducive to what we're talking about with the future of work. I speak a lot out there about the future of marketing, the future of communication, the future of work. And the future of work is not you and me and everyone else having to go into a physical building every day and be visible in order to be counted as productive.
Right.
And to me, I think the workforce of the future, many people will choose to work remotely and be in various locations and have flexible work schedules. And that's what we've built within our organization, is the ability to work remotely and have flexible schedules. Because bottom line for me is, I don't need to see you to know that you've put in your time. What I do is it's all performance based. Did you get done what you were supposed to get done?
Absolutely.
And that's how we run our organization.
That's incredible. Very incredible. So outside of the world of digital marketing and artificial intelligence, who has had the biggest impact on your life and why?
Oh,
hard question.
That's a good one. So many people have had such an impact on my life, especially just, being a nurse and having been in so many life and death situations. There have been all kinds of inflection points within my life, but the one that pops up for me when you ask this question most is the fact that my kid sister, who was a year younger than me, she was murdered when I was 35. 34. She was 33. And and going through a murder trial for my family was just absolutely painful. But, one of the biggest impacts that she had and her death had, and the way she died had on my life, is that, it really struck me a couple of things. One is when we have situations showing up in our life that seem tragic and negative and really hard to bear, lots of suffering and pain, is that it really brought to life to me that this too shall pass.
Right.
And the other thing it brought up for me is it's never too late to be the person you might have been. The two things really shook out for me with Barbara's death. And that was at her funeral, I just can't imagine feeling more pain and suffering in my, in my soul, in my gut and everything, because she had children. And it was a really hard thing, is that when I least expected it, at the core of my misery, all of a sudden this thought hit my head. And it was a green chili burrito. I'm not kidding you. All of a sudden, have you ever had this random thoughts hit your head? I don't know that we necessarily control our thinking. It's just, we are being thought, right?
Right, it just
comes. The thought hits my head, a green chili burrito. And all of a sudden, without even thinking about it, knee-jerk reaction, I'm like, ooh, that sounds good. I'm kind of hungry. And then the next thought that hit my head was, how on earth could you be thinking about a green chili burrito when this is your sister's funeral? So all of a sudden I was having this dialogue in my head, like, well, who brought up the green chili then? If the other part of me is really upset about the fact that I'm not, mourning my sister. And what I realized was that this deeper message of this too shall pass is no matter what emotional state we're in, no matter what shows up along our path, it will shift.
Yeah.
We don't stay depressed forever. We don't stay in a fit of suffering forever. Sometimes we move to being hungry for a green chili burrito.
Yeah.
And sometimes we move into a deeper awareness of what we want to use our life for, which is that second piece, which is for my sister. She's gone too early, but it's not too late for me to wake up. Wake up. What do I want to experience this lifetime? And who do I want to be? What do I want to create? And it's not too late. If anyone doesn't like what they have in their past, they can move and shift it today. It's powerful. So those two things are so salient for me because they were deep experiences, and I am being completely honest about the fact of, it's hard for me to talk about the fact that I had this mental dialogue going on at my sister's funeral, but can't we just be human and transparent and talk about all that we are, all that we're not? And you know what? Sometimes we have these really weird thoughts, but it's what we do with our thinking and not our thinking, right? It's what we do with the thoughts we have, not the fact that we have them.
Yeah, that is definitely a powerful and graceful message to all of our listeners. Tamara, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Have a safe and blessed trip. Guys, thank you for listening to this interview. For these and other interviews and topics, please visit techfunnel.com. You can connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, and you can stay up to date on what's happening in the industry. Again, thank you so much, Tamara. We really appreciate it.